I kind of feel like I want to fly the Mustang. I hope that's cool with you guys. Not that one. Strafing practice. Let's make it easy. And I think you'll... Alright, P-51. P-51 it is. Fantastic. Okay, so this is basically it's the same mission. It's just I've got a Mustang with 6 rockets instead of a Hog with just gun. And you'll find it. I think I'm a lot more accurate with the Mustang. I just need to patch before I go online myself. Yeah, the patch just came out. I think it was today, if I remember correctly. So all right. Here we are in the P-51, and I have it. This is going to be a cold start, so we're gonna go through the whole startup sequence. And I don't know if this is the right order of operations or anything like that, but it does work for me. Alright, so we've got the rudder. This is a takeoff procedure. You want to put the rudder for takeoff at about 5 to 6 degrees right. Flaps neutral. Carburetor air control to full forward. If you want takeoff lights, that's the switch right there. Landing lights mixture at... Let me switch my G13 over to the Mustang so I know what's where. Sorry about some track IR goofiness here. Okay, so that's that. That's the M button. Okay, fuel on. And the right way. Oop, that was the wrong button. This is the parking brake. So pull the parking brake out, pump your toe brakes, let go, and now you're locked in place. Uncage the artificial horizon. Turn on your magnetos. I kind of go left to right. Fuel booster, oil dilute you don't need. Turn on the... We're going to prime it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's good enough. Over here, actually I may need to prime it again because I didn't have on my battery, my generator, gun heat, pitot heat. These are lights, those are lights. Radio, channel A I believe should be the tower. If not, it's because I didn't build the mission right. The engine's really loud. Let's close that. Alright, so everything on. Let's prime the engine again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I also like to turn on the Gunsight. Normally you'd want to wait until you're airborne to do that, but let's turn on our rockets as well. Single mode. Turn on the Gunsight. And we'll look up here, and that's our ground attack reticle. That'll be our gyro sight. We'll worry about that later. Gyro sight's only for air combat. So, all right, propeller, full RPM, throttle a little bit forward, and let's go. Gonna prime it. Hold. I like to hold. I was reading Bud Anderson's book, and he said that they used to prime it and then start kind of at the same time. So I'm going to let that go, and once it kicks over, mixture to run, and now we're running. I'm going to pull the... You want to put slight back pressure on the stick while you taxi, most of the time. So you use a combination of the rudders. I'm sorry, see, look down here. You got toe brakes and rudder, and the rudder will steal the tail wheel. If you pull the stick back a little bit like this, it locks the tail wheel to like plus or minus 6 degrees left right. So it'll keep it from getting all squirrely on you. So pump the brakes. Alright, now we're ready to go. If I want to be all official about everything, I'm going to request startup.
Double Eddie, Colt, 1-1, request startup.
And they're probably not going to reply because I don't think I have the frequency set correctly. Yeah, this is a sloppy mission I made here. Alright, so let's just get going. The trick in this is going to be to turn right and not hit my wings on the edge, flaps up here, of either of these hangars. So I'm using stick forward and wheel brakes to do this so I can turn a little more tightly. Alright, that wasn't so bad. And since I built this mission, I know there is no other traffic around. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Stick forward, right brake, left brake. So I kind of announce what I'm doing in case you're trying to learn the Mustang and want to know how I do it. Again, that's distinct from what is probably the correct way to do things. You'll notice too the visibility forward is pretty bad because it's a tail dragger. It's got a long nose, you can't really see too well, so if you ever see P-51s at an air show, you'll notice they snake on the taxiway so they can kind of go zigzag and not hit anything. More critical at an air show than the mission I built where I know there's nothing to run into. But seriously, thanks for tuning in, all you folks. It's pretty cool of you to stop by. I do appreciate an audience. Pretty snazzy of you. Alright, let's see. Make a left turn. Stick is still back. It should be enough space to make my little U-turn here. Full left rudder. And I'm not even gonna request a takeoff because, whatever. Oh yeah, torque in the Mustang is kind of a bitch. So there is a good chance that I'm gonna crash, just because I haven't done this in a while. All right, of course I'm gonna crash when somebody's watching, but the trick to this is very gradual throttle movements, and be ready to compensate for torque with rudder. I like to take off nice and slow. Some people can take off at like 50 inches of manifold. I tend not to go over like 40 at most. So pick up speed. Once it gets to be about 100, my tail is going to want to lift off the ground, but I'm holding it down, back stick, until I got enough speed to kind of, ease off back pressure. And you don't pull the plane up, you just let it take off. Gear coming up. Trim it up a little bit. RPM down to about 2,700, which is max sustainable. 46 inches manifold pressure and 2,700 RPM are maximum sustainable. So if you want max performance and you want to stay that way, that's the way to do it. I'm going to fix my rudder trim here to straight 0. Alright, so that's pretty much it. And I've got some trim problems here. I'm all over the place. Alright, so now we're cruising. There's the old target practice range. Now I've replaced the 10 tanks with 16 trucks. The 50 BMG is perfectly adequate for a truck, but is not going to be able to pierce the armor of a T-72. The rockets might, but they're very inaccurate, so you need a probably dead-on shot, and I'm not that good. So, at least with the rockets anyway. I've done a lot of strafing in the Mustang, so Haven't done it in a while, but I've got some trim problems. Now, to be accurate with the guns, it's very critical that everything's trimmed up nicely. So we'll see how this goes. Probably not too great. Got some hits, and that's a kill. All right. So you can see in this game right now the 50 BMG. I have 6 of those. Perfectly great for blowing up trucks. You don't need a whole lot of rounds to make a kill on them. Which is good because in the campaign I'm building right now, you strafe a lot of trucks. Shameless plug. Dark Horse campaign for the P-51 Mustang coming out soon for DCS P-51. And you can see the Mustang is being recip engine, or prop engine rather. There's no turbo lag. Wait, I guess technically there is going to be turbo lag in the turbocharger, but throttle response is instant because it's not a jet. So I'm much more comfortable skimming around in the Mustang than I am in the Hog because I know if I jam that throttle forward, I'm going to get an instant climb. As long as I'm not too close, if I'm not cutting the grass with my prop, I'm going to be able to get out of it. Now I'm using this Gunsight, and I haven't quite, you'll notice there's different marks on it, and that's for different ranges. And it's a fixed Gunsight, so it's for ground attack. If you want to shoot at airplanes, you're going to want to use that. Where's my uncage here? It's a gyro lead computing Gunsight. It's kind of like the ancestor of the, a lot of the stuff we have today. But, oh, I missed it. Bummer. Yeah, this is the K-14 Gunsight, right? Okay, so if you look right above where it says no handhold, if you look at this, you'll see a slider, and that's where you got that bound to my HOTAS. So what you do is you can see as I move that, the Gunsight changes behavior. You set this is wingspan and feet of your expected target. The Mustang, let's say, is 37 feet wingspan, so you set it right here. MiG-15 is 33 feet, spoiler alert, and you can set it for that. And over here, you can see how that's twisting the throttle. That's your range. You can see it's also doing stuff on the Gunsight itself. So you set the wingspan and fixed for whatever you expect to be fighting, and then you can adjust this to suit the range of your target. I like to keep it at 1100 because that's the convergence point of all 6 of these guns. So if you put the target so it fits squarely, like the wingspan fits squarely here within that like circle, you're gonna get a good six gun convergence, and you're gonna hit as hard as you can. Yeah, it's a complicated subject. If you want more, you can go to the Eagle Dynamics forum and be prepared to see some arguments ongoing about that. 60 years later, and people are still arguing about the performance of World War II aircraft and stuff like that. It's all good, I'm glad there's still interest in them. I mean, I'm kind of an odd bird that I'm too young to have grown up with these kind of aircraft, but I kind of did grow up reading about them and watching them on TV and stuff. Being able to fly them virtually at DCS is quite a treat. Something this high fidelity. Any questions, comments? post them on up, and they'll talk about airplanes for months on end without stopping. That's how much I've read about them. And I guess the question is, hey, why aren't you flying real aircraft? Well, right now the answer is money. And I think that's most people's reason. It's kind of a rich man's hobby. Even flying as cheaply as you can is really expensive. I think a viable financial alternative may be gliders. Those are pretty affordable and obviously don't burn gas. But flying a P-51 is like, it's on my, flying in one, taking a ride, which you can do if you pay like a few $1,000 is on my bucket list. What sucks about it is that I'll be so, I anticipate saving up the money, going to Kissimmee where you can pay some crazy amount of money for like a half-hour, 45-minute ride or something like that. I think I'm going to be, if and when that does happen, you know, years from now, I'm concerned that I will miss the entire flight because I'll be so happy, I'll be so misty that I won't be able to see anything. That's how much it means. But, yeah. Anyway, something to look forward to in the future, you know? Coming here. Yep, even our flight club small planes. Oh, diamonds? Yeah. Cost like 130 to 150 euro per hour to operate. Shit. Yeah, I mean, you know, what do they call it? Like the $150 hamburger where you rent your Cessna 152 and you fly somewhere and you hop out and get a burger at the FBO or something and then you fly back home and just for the time. Yeah, it's super expensive. And so are you? Wow, I'm kind of curious. Like, I know what the FAA in the United States, we have the FAA, which is the Federal Aviation Administration. I believe that's what it stands for. In Europe, I was wondering about pilot licensing and how that works, what the requirements are. You know, in the U.S., it's 50 hours total flight minimum for your PPL, your private pilot's license. I think, what is it? I forgot what the exact ratio is between solo and, you know, dual with your instructor. If you're in a flying club, I assume you're a pilot, right? Which is something I'm working on. Right now, another obstacle is in the U.S., there's some legislation going through that's affecting how you get your medical certificate, your student pilot certificate, and your medical, I can't remember the exact word for it. Looks like it's got potential to be better, but it's in a transition period right now, so getting your medical cert is kind of as I understand it, kind of a pain in the ass. Well, even more of a pain in the ass than it once was, which is always bad. And I'm thinking, oh, gee, I can afford to. I might be able to afford my private license, but could I afford to fly afterwards? You know, because I'd be doing rentals like you're mentioning here at your Finland. Interesting. Still a student pilot. PPL is a thing in Finland, too, where I'm located. So is it 50 hours as well in Finland? That's pretty interesting. God, I love the internet. Anyway, yeah, I'm kind of half-assedly working on my PPL, getting to where I can go to flight school to get my PPL, where I'm going to have to unlearn a lot of bad habits I have picked up from playing flight simulators for so many years. I'm sure that they're going to have to slap my hand a few times when I do the wrong thing. I don't remember the exact requirements, but I think it's something equivalent. Yeah, I was looking that up too because it may be possible I might be at least temporarily moving to hopefully Canada. And I was like, well, gee, if I do that, then I'll have to put my flight training on hold. But apparently, I can. It's possible if you have a Canadian license, it transfers. It's the U.S. or the FAA considers it like pretty much equivalent. So you just trade one in, and they give you the U.S. License, and then everything's good. So it sounds like Finland maybe have similar standards to us. So they may be pretty much more or less the same thing. Huh? So that's 16 dead trucks. Oh, I didn't even fire my rockets. Oh wait, there's a truck right there, and it's gonna take probably all 6 of my rockets to hit it. So let's do that. It's kind of our final run here. Again, the flashlight effect does hold true with the rockets as much as it does with the guns. So you want to dive and anticipate some drop, and it's not working. So let's fly around, go around and do it again. What's going on? Alright, that's why. I'm gonna put it on auto so they fire as a salvo of 6 at one time. Think of it like a shotgun blast with a lot of drop. Going forward, let's get some altitude. That's another thing I had to unlearn when I picked up DCS, because the aircraft fly like real ones do. In older, simpler simulators, it was the throttle made you go faster, like go forward faster, and the pitch control just made you point up and down, in that direction. Well, real aircraft don't work like that. Power climbs, right? And you can think of your pitch control as sort of like a, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you can think of that in a way as like speed control, where you push down for speed and pull back to bleed speed off. And your throttle is going to sort of adjust kind of how your climb rate and your equilibrium and stuff. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think so. I read in a book somewhere, a book called Stick and Rudder. Yeah, see those rockets? They aren't even gonna. You really need to figure out how much they're gonna drop and get a feel for it, which I don't quite have yet. They're good at groups of trucks, groups of targets. Digital says, I know that a friend of mine who already has his license has flown planes in Iceland, in some country in South America, El Salvador, I think. That is pretty cool. That seems to be one of the things that flying offers you, is the ability to, travel about, and see things that, first off, travel to places you may not be able to go through regular commercial flight. And second, view the world in a different way. I mean, you actually get to go where you want, see things. That's totally awesome. And I often have people ask me like, "Hey, why are you, what's the deal with flight? Why are you so into it? Why are you willing to spend potentially thousands of dollars just to get a license to fly a 150-mile-an-hour bug smasher? It's not even a jet, man. It's not even cool." Well, like if I have to like explain that to you, you probably aren't gonna get it anyway. I mean, to me, it's just kind of like in my DNA, if you will. It's kind of like of course you want to fly. Why wouldn't you? It seems like the coolest thing in the world. So I have gotten some yoke time or stick time, if you want to call it that. Not as pilot in command, but just kind of like early in life, my dad used to take us flying, and it was like some of my best memories. Done a little bit of like hands-on since then, and it's just, you can't beat it. It's like the best thing in the world. Digital says, not 100%, but I think he was looking also into using his license to rent a plane in the U.S., and it was possible to do with some paperwork. Yeah, I would imagine so. They kind of know what's going on. I mean, I think most countries honor other countries' pilot's licenses. Otherwise, the whole point of, a lot of the point of flying is to, travel from one country to the next. If you got arrested for flying illegally the instant you landed at a foreign airport, it might get kind of rough, right? But I guess that's part of what the ICAO does, huh? It's like establish standards and things. But what I was thinking is, it's different if you become a resident of a country. Like if you're going to be there for a while, you may need to, I don't know what the limits may be, but you may need to switch your license over to the one that exists in that country. Right now I'm going to execute a shitty landing, so stand by for that. Throttle back, RPM all the way forward. And once I get below about 200, I think you should be below 170, but I'm going to drop my flaps. Kind of doing a little brake here to bleed off speed. I'm not braking hard enough. There we go. Let's do some pitch up. Throttle back. Yeah, shut up. Okay, it's beeping at me because I got my throttle chopped. It's a stall warning. Flaps down 2 notches, gear down. That'll kill that warning. I have a bad habit of bouncing the Mustang when I land it. Usually coming in too fast or too shallow or too steep. To something. You want to touch down at 90 to 100 miles per hour. You want to do it sort of flats. You can do a 3-point landing. You can do a main gear landing. Says I have no idea how that would work. Yeah, I don't. I think it depends on your duration of stay. Like if you're gonna live in a country, you may have a certain time frame where you're required to change your pilot's license over to the other country. Make a landing here, and that'll be it for me for today. Thank you for flying Zilch Airlines. We realize you had other choices of carriers, and we appreciate your business. We'll be touching down at Cabletta Airport shortly. We hope you enjoy your stay. Anyway, yeah, no, seriously, thanks for watching me do this. It's pretty cool. Of all of you guys to stop by, it's super great. It makes me happy and all warm and fuzzy inside and stuff. I do fly mostly Star Citizen, but if you want DCS, this is horrible landing. Hang on, I may need to shut up for a second as I unscrew myself here. I don't. In real life, this would be a wave off or a go around. This is already trashed, but since it's a simulator, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna try and force it. Yeah, if you want, I got that link in my channel to my Twitter. So if you, I'm gonna try and send tweets out. I don't abuse Twitter. I don't hardly ever use it, but I'll kind of give a. I'm gonna set up a regular schedule. But until then, I'll probably get a little tweet a few minutes before I start doing this. So if you're interested and you want to see, I'll be like, okay, in 5 minutes I'll be playing DCS, or in 5 minutes I'll be playing Star Citizen, or whatever. And I'm going too fast on this landing, and it's gonna bounce. So I'm gonna float it a little bit, bleed off some speed, and try and do a 3-point. Oh, only a little bit of bounce. That's one of my better landings, believe it or not. That's how sloppy I tend to be. But yeah, seriously, thanks for checking out my channel and sticking around and talking to me about airplanes and shit. That's pretty cool. I don't really know anyone where I live who likes to talk about this kind of stuff, so my wife tells me to shut up about it. Nobody I work with really cares, so it's like the only chance I get to talk about aviation, simulation, and stuff like that. So I really enjoy it. And yeah, landing the Mustang's a bitch. I've tried it I don't know how many times. Taking off's a bitch, landing's a bitch. I mean, you get a feel for it. You just got to do it again and again and really pay attention and be prepared to be frustrated. Because it doesn't give you a warning before it flips you over in an uncontrollable, flip on your back as you take off and you burn in flames. Imagine back in the day when you had to transition from like the T6 to the Mustang. The Mustang with no instructor pilot in it. Could be a lot worse too. You could be learning the BF-109, which killed a lot of people on the ground, takeoff and landing. Anyway, it's good to appreciate history and the people who really did this stuff for real and put their own lives at risk for the rest of us. So, cool. Again, thanks for stopping by. I really super duper appreciate it. Follow me if you'd like to. If you think I'm super boring or whatever, then don't worry about it. I'll see you around. See you around Twitch. See you around Star Citizen and DCS. I usually don't play a whole lot of multiplayer in DCS because I'm not that great. But when I do, I'll send a little tweet out and you can watch me get my ass kicked. All right. All right. Thanks a lot. I gotta go do the real life thing, and I sincerely appreciate your stopping by.